Hey, welcome back to the show, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll try and capture Dime's awesome guitar tone. We'll get close to it. I've got the Jackson King V KVX here loaded with the Seymour Duncan Dimebag set. We've got the Marshall DSL and a couple of EQs on the floor, and between that, we should get close. Thanks, mate. There's so much there where to start, how to capture his tone today. And look, going back when I was a young fella and I used to get the Guitar World columns each week, Dimebag had his own column there called Riff of Madness, and in that column he actually gave away all his tips and tricks on how to get the tones that he did and how to make the whammy bar squeals and do all those things that all the guitar heroes were doing at the time. I was just a teenage sponge and I was just soaking it all in, and it was really cool that he was just such a down-to-earth guy explaining all these things that they were doing then. Something that stood out to me with Dime was that he was a single guitar player in an era of metal where every awesome band had two guitarists and they played off. He was just on his own. And then you find out that he just had a solid state Randall amp that was nothing really special. And he had a few basic pedals and the EQs. And he often spoke about the MXR 6-band EQ that he had. He had a blue one and a Furman Parametric EQ. He never explained exactly how he came across his tone or how he sculpted it or the chain of effects that he had in sequence. But he did say that he used to play the amp off against the MXR in the front and the Furman EQ in the loop. And it'd have pretty much opposing signals going on, which gave it that like a scooped but a mid-focus tone at the same time. So I've got the DSL here today and we'll just try and recreate it. I think any high gain amp will get you in the ballpark with this. I don't think it really comes down to the amp that you're using. It's more so just the EQs and how you're dialing them in. And something that I found when I was chasing his tone for years, I eventually got myself a Dimebag guitar, an ML, a Far Beyond Driven Tribute, and it was loaded with the Seymour Duncan Dimebucker pickups. And straight away, I just knew that those pickups really put you in the ballpark. It doesn't matter about the effects on the floor of the amp. As soon as you start chugging away, you can just tell it's got that mid-focused, aggressive push that Dime was really renowned for. And so a lot of his sound does come down to these pickups. And so I was fortunate enough, I knew this was coming up and I was really excited about doing the Cowboys from Hell tone matching for you all. I reached out to Seymour Duncan and they were really cool and they set me out a set. So I've gone and tried them out in the Jackson KVX and just put the Dimebucker set in. With the rosewood fingerboard, it just jumps out and has that tone again that I remembered from the Dimebag MLs. So to try and describe the pickup sound to you as best as I know, they've got a really aggressive sort of mid-focused edge to them that's almost like when you have a wah pedal and you just crack it a little bit. That to me is how the bridge pickup responds. It's got a really aggressive side to it, but it's tight and focused at the same time. And as far as the neck pickup, Seymour Duncan used to do the dime time, but this is really just a hot rodded SH1 now. And it's really smooth and really creamy and beautiful for leads. It's got a really nice rich tone to it. So if we go over to the Marshall DSL here, there's nothing really special about how I've set it up. It's fairly vanilla. The gain is wound back not too much because I am pushing it in the front end with the MXR 6 band. I don't need too much on tap here. The mids I've just rolled back a little bit, but nothing's really off the charts and crazy in trying to get this tone. It's just little things that help at the end of the day. And they're really just little tweaks that I've found after I've done all the EQs on the floor. So the rig on the floor is really where the magic happens with this. What I'll do, I'm just going to turn pedals on and off just to try and isolate, and you can hear the different sounds on how the tone is built. The amp on its own. And that's pretty boring on its own. If we just turn the 6-band EQ, this has got just the boosting of the mids in the front end of the amp. It's just going to help out the gain stage essentially, just to give you a little bit more, but really force those mids and make it just have more of that Slayer-ish sort of tone on the top end. Now we get to the MXR 10-band EQ. It's in the effects loop, and I've just sucked all the mids out of the 1K region, and this is how that sounds. And just for something to do, I'm just going to feed back in those mids in that 1K region. We'll just see how that sounds a little bit. And back if I take them all out again. The final piece of the puzzle to make his tone now, I found, is with the parametric EQ. But essentially with this one, the red band is the bass frequencies, green the mids, and blue the treble. And the center dials of all are the gains. The other two dials are the width and the frequency range that you've really just got to play around with and focus in on. So the center dial for the mids and the treble, you can see I've turned up, and I've left the bass frequencies as they are. I found I got all the bass I needed out of the MXR 10 band on the floor. And so this is the end of the signal with the parametric EQ. I'll flick it on and off as we're playing. So you can hear the parametric really is there just to push those mid frequencies back into the mix a little bit, just so the tone's not sucked out of it completely, and that gives you that really sort of boxy tone on the inside as well. So just talking about the 59 on the neck now, I found it just a really smooth pickup. It's got really nice output and it's got great sort of rich textures to it. I think it'd go really well just having a pair of those in any guitar, like a nice Les Paul or something. I think it'd just go really nice and you get a great tone out of it. So this is just a test how it sits with the other pickup when you're playing away. And so you've really got a great balance here of this super aggressive top end and a really mellow but smooth pickup for guitar solos, and it really just makes a lot of fun. You have that in a guitar with a whammy bar and a bit of an aggressive tone and you're set for the afternoon, you know. It's just good. So there you have it, guys. Thanks again so much for tuning in. The amp itself was pretty vanilla in this video, but it came down to the EQs and how we want to use them and dial them up, and if anything, it gives you an idea that they can really sculpt the amp to whatever you want it to be. And thanks again for Seymour Duncan for sending out the pickups. I've had a blast, really great tones, lots of fun, and I'll see you next week. Bye now.